Business growth, ladies and gentlemen, and the digital transformation success story. Wow. So, okay, they say when you tell me, I forget. When you teach me, I remember. But it is only, ladies and gentlemen, when you involve me, that is when I learn. And this is going to be interesting because it looks like it's going to be a tale-telling, storytelling kind of a chat. Our session moderator, I hope. Bharath Yaragatti, the VP Customer Engineering from Niveus Solutions, is right here. Bharath, are you around? Hi, good evening. Please grace the stage. And may I please also request Suyog Shetty, CEO, ladies and gentlemen, of Niveus Solutions, to also please join us with a warm round of cheer, our discussant for the chat, along with Abhishek Sukhwal, the head Cloud Center of Excellence, Mahindra and Mahindra. Let's welcome Abhishek, Suyog, and Bharath with a... You want to put your hands right up in the air and clap. You know, that's all the hard work that I make all of you do. But Bharath, handing over the strings of the conversation to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, first of all, it feels great to be, sitting on a real stage after the, unfortunate pandemic that we have had. So amazing. And I think the last panel discussion was really good. And we got insights from the FSI, food and beverage industry, Schneider Electrics, and also Adani, right? Really insightful, session on the emerging technologies. So moving on, whatever they say about the data is, new oil, like my good friend Tejas from Redis did call out, right? So data is not the new oil, right, today. Data is the soil, or rather an old soil, for cultivating intelligence, right? If can be leveraged, if it can harness, it has the potential to drive a lot of business decisions, generate new revenue streams, and then also have customer success, right? Today, if we see, right, every swipe, every touch, every tap that is being done on a phone has the potential to shape business decisions, create value and customer experience, right? And also has the potential to get real-time control over your processes and operations. So to speak today on data for good, that is creating value for everyone, right? Today we have with us Mr. Abhishek Sukhwal, who has about 20 plus years of experience in being a technology leader. He's head of Center of Cloud Excellence for Mahindra Group. So very warm welcome to you for this session, Abhishek. We also have Suyog Shetty, who is the founder and CEO of Niveus Solutions, who are an award-winning and a premier Google Cloud partner, and who have been helping a lot of clients in the area of data modernization and analytics space. So warm
Thanks,
welcome
Bharath.
to you as well. All right, so getting to the point, right? So Abhishek, Mahindra and Mahindra, close to 25 plus industries, 150 plus companies, right? That's massive. So what significance does data hold for you, right? And how are you leveraging the data and the analytics path basically to kind of give you or pave the way for your futuristic roadmap?
Yeah. So what is happening is Mahindra is a big conglomerate into 23 industries and 150 plus companies. The data, as everybody knows, data is something which is very crucial for your strategic decision makings and all other things. And during COVID, we experienced we have a conventional business of who was knowing that maybe people will buy tractor online, and everything is now happening in the digital world. Lot of data is churning, and in the present world, as you rightly said about the soil, where you grow and do AI, ML and all these things. The way I think the business is moving is how you have the insights and then how you can customize your solutions. We are also moving into connected cars, and we have XUV 700, which is fully connected car, and that car is highly appreciated and in the market as booking of more than 2 years now. So that kind of, a conglomerate like Mahindra has a lot of digitalization has happened, and so assets. And in this last post-COVID era, the data is immense. Now, the another point is for all big companies and big conglomerates where you have multiple businesses, how to cross leverage your data to get your customers on board and cross selling and find out their potential. And so that requires a democratization of the data across the entire group and this. And what I think is going forward, data is something which will continue to grow, because what I've seen that the digitalization at the last mile, which has happened, like for example, we talk about IoT devices and industry 4.0, let's say, optimizing and finding out the maintenance from the vibrations and all. That kind of thing which is happening, lot of data is coming and lot of scope which is coming. And I think the only way, and I will say that Mahindra is moving towards the way to future, because data is something which is a catalyst for your business growth. And any business growth today is not possible without data, because everything and the entire community is working on data.
Absolutely, thanks for that. So I mean, data can be called different names, right? I mean, data is information and information is power. So there is power to kind of transform lives, touch the customers where they want, and create massive, immense value and return on investment for them. I think that's where we are headed. So moving on, Suyog, I think in the last panel discussion, Mr. Sachin mentioned, right? I think as a response to one of the questions, what role does a partner play, right, in a large-scale, digital transformation, which includes the strategizing of the entire data analytics part, right? So Niveus, I know for a fact that we have been working with a lot of customers like Mahindra and Mahindra in this journey, right? So what is it that the partners like Niveus bring to the table, right? How do we collaborate and ensure that the groups like Mahindra and Mahindra ensure the success and they're able to touch the hearts of the people?
Yeah. Thanks, Bharath. So I think Niveus has been a pure play cloud engineering firm, right, and working with various enterprises in app infra data space. But if you look at from a data standpoint, I think there's a tons of data which is being generated across the organization. Especially if you look at someone like Mahindra, I think there are multiple systems, multiple organizations, various systems, IoT devices. Right, across the board where data is getting generated. Now, and one of the common challenges what we see across enterprises is, how do you create value out of this, right? And the challenge is, the distributed data sources and varying both unstructured and unstructured data sources, right? That has been the biggest challenge to kind of drive value out of the data which is already available, across the organization. Now, Niveus as such, we've been working with customers like Mahindra in kind of building those systems end to end, right? If you look at Niveus, I think how we approach is, I think we take a multi-step approach in case of organizations like Mahindra. And the most important thing, right, while Mahindra has been clear in terms of what is the kind of value they want to derive after the data, in most situations, I think where we see things failing is it's been taken more from a technology standpoint, but not from kind of driving value, right? I think we as Niveus have been coming and kind of articulating those values for these organizations, which has been the first and the foremost step in any of our engagements, right? Because once you understand what you want to derive of these data, I think the rest of the journey becomes much more clear, right? And I think wherever we have seen failures in the past have been organizations where I think where they're not clear about how they want to kind of leverage this data, in kind of driving their businesses. So that is the first step in our engagement, how we start off. The second step is typically in terms of building the base which is required, right? Now, a data transformation can happen either either on cloud or on on-prem. But I think the reason why we recommend to do this data transformation on cloud, and especially on Google Cloud, is because of the speed and agility and the scale at which you can do this transformation, right? And for you to do that, I think the fundamental things on cloud is to kind of set up your landing zone, the governance, data governance especially, right? So that becomes the second step in our process. And the third one is, I think, creating those real-time pipelines, right? When you look at, organizations like Mahindra, you have systems like SAP, you have an IoT data coming in, you have data sources across various Excel files, right? Across various organizations. How do you kind of build those pipelines and kind of build those real-time streams, which gets into a system like BigQuery, right? Which can process some of these data at real time. So that's the third step. Follow that up with kind of building those and aligning those KPIs and end goals using the visualization layers. And finally, where we've been able to differentiate as Niveus is, I think in all of these journey, one of the key element is the technical expertise which is required on these technologies, right? While we've been able to kind of articulate on the business goals, I think we bring in that technical expertise, especially on Google Cloud, to kind of put this and stitch this together into it.
And absolutely right. So it takes away a lot of risk or the time and effort from the clients, wherein they'll have to invest in building. We don't need a data science team. We don't need a data scientist team today, right? I mean, a lot of your algorithms and a lot of recommendation engines development is kind of available as managed services in the cloud. I think that's where cloud plays a very important role. And with the right skill sets that the partner bring in, the clients can focus on their customer success rather than worrying about the smaller, the technical shortfalls or the skill set issues and things like that. That's where I think we would be delivering more value. That brings us back to you, Abhishek. So. Well, again, while you're strategizing your whole data, path or for the organization, a lot of data exists in silos, right? With a lot of organizations, a lot of companies that are there. So typically, when you're putting a strategy together, or while you're implementing this, and you have seen early success in this as well, what are the typical challenges that you generally face, and what kind of best practices do you kind of follow to mitigate these?
So what I think is conglomerate like Mahindra, having a span of so much of businesses and so much of business units, and they are empowered also to everybody running its own business unit. I think the challenges, the first challenge which comes is availability, visibility, and accessibility of the data. Tomorrow you find out that I will make a 50 people data science engineers I hire for changing the AI ML in the company, but first thing will come, where is my data? Who will give access to my data? There is no visibility of data or something. That is one challenge. Second challenge which comes is, we were a legacy system and a transactional system data is there, and nowadays the entire things are changing. You have to have real-time data integration from Google Ads, let's say, or social media data and unstructured data has to be integrated to find out the consumer preferences, and then you can customize your product and find out a lot of things. Third thing, which is also very important when this TDP is coming, and you have to be more having a data governance part and security part. So these were the all challenges which we were going through with Mahindra finance data, or let's say of data of Mahindra auto divisions and all data. Then we started finding out a solution, and we finally narrowed down to Google being highly resilient and faster, and the ecosystem around AI ML services which are there in Google. And then we started with Niveus, and the partner has come with the technical skill gap which was there actually, so which was bridged by Niveus. And we started creating a data. Now, the foundation is something which we have created like data engineering platform and a framework. So what we are doing is we are creating from the ingestion to classification of data and everything, a reference architecture we have made for the data prepping, data quality, classification, taxonomy, and entire framework is there so that now the business can onboard with the data. Because in enterprise, it has always happened that I'm the owner of data, right? I want my ownership. So we have made the entire framework as a data as a service. The entire data is democratized, cataloged, and anybody in the organization knows, yes, this is the data available with the company, which can be used. Now, whom to access, and then all the governing frameworks, that entire thing we have stitched together. So now onboarding of any business on data, connecting on data, everything, an entire thing which we have made as a framework, it has come very well actually. And Niveus has been played a very key role in because the experience with one is the skill gap and another is experience with benchmarking with the previous assignments, which Suyog is helping us in that area. So that's the story of our.
Thanks, Abhishek. So Abhishek did mention Suyog, right? I think we're running out of time. Probably I'll take this as the last question in this discussion. He spoke about data democratization, which means bringing data to the lower levels of the organization where employees can make more strategic decisions with the data being available to them and kind of make those decisions and mitigate a lot of risks, right? But this comes with challenges of governance and security, right? While you would want to make data accessible to everyone, you'd like to have a governance layer on it, right? So how does Niveus go about taking care of the governance and the security aspects of it when we're doing implementations like this?
So I think as Abhishek mentioned, democratization of the data is one of the key aspects in which we started our journey with M&M itself, right? Now, when you say democratization of data across various companies, it is about how do you securely kind of, and in a trusted way, share those data across various departments, right? Now, if you look at it, just to, while we could build a complex data lakes, build, the data streams, across various sources, if you do not have a strong framework to kind of govern the data, I think you would have issues when you cross-leverage the data across departments. Now, a simple example, which we typically see is when you try to call a customer care, they start taking those questions, right? And finally, when they hand it over to another department, I think you still have to end up repeating the same thing, right? Now, that's one of those use cases what we are looking at where, the sharing of data and how much has to be shared. So, but this is just one part of it, right? As Abhishek mentioned, while customer experience is impacted, it is also impacting the way when the data science teams uses it. Now, how Niveus helps is using the framework, which is a three-step approach, which is across policies, rules, and classifications. Now, the policies are typically governed either at an org level or something like a GDPR or a law of a land, right? That's the first part. The second one is in terms of, the rules, what you said, which is typically the data protection and the governance. The data protection is typically how are you going to actually protect information like a PAN card or other information, and how are you going to kind of set rules in terms of how the data has to be shared across different departments. That's the second one. The third one is on the classification of data on, how do you kind of query these data and kind of classify these data into different modules. So these are the three steps in which we go about kind of setting up the overall governance structure for data across any organization.
Thanks a lot, Suyog and Abhishek, for that. I think we've pretty much come to the end of the time. We are, seated outside. There's a booth where, if you have any other queries, regarding these implementations, how we handle it, please feel free to walk in there, and we'll be more than happy to, answer those questions. Once again, thanks a lot, Abhishek, for your time. Really
Thanks,
appreciate it, and thanks for this.
Thanks,
Thanks for your
Abhishek.
patience, and hope you have a great evening ahead.